I don't think.
All right, so today we're looking at Module 2, Session 1, which is setting the foundation for ECD. All right, so what are the beginning points that we need to consider when we enter into the ECD setting? Pedro, next slide. Right, so number one, we're going to look at what are the factors that influence childhood development. We're going to look at what strategies you can use, right, to help children with these needs. And these notes will be posted onto the portal as well. So you'll have a copy of these notes as we go through it. And then we're going to describe the main domains of child development. So I want you to think of child development as a set of stages that happen, right? And we're going to look at each of those stages and what influences those stages. So let's just start off from the top quickly and see. Valencia, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, Valencia, if you had to think of something that could influence the development of a child, what would you say then?
Oh, that is a difficult question.
I know, it's particularly difficult. If you could only pick one thing, what would it be? What's the most important thing that could influence how a child grows up?
Let me think.
Okay, think about it for a bit. Tracy Lee, you tell me, what do you think could make or break a child's development? Pedro, what do you think?
I would say social skills.
Okay, all right. Sifiso, what do you think? What's the most important thing for a child's skills? Nombulelo. He's deeply ignoring me at this point. Okay, perfect. Next slide, please. All right, so let's go a step back and first see what is early childhood, right? So we know early childhood development, but we need to understand what is the stage of early childhood. And the best way to think of it is this. Early childhood is a number of stages in your life that we measure by looking at different milestones, right? We look at these different parts of your life to what you can do in each of them, right? The period of early childhood starts at birth. Actually, it's prenatal, but childhood itself starts at birth all the way until you turn 8. Right? In those years, you were considered to be in the early childhood phase of your life. Next slide. Okay, so why is this important for us? Because when we are working with children at these stages, right, we need to teach them basic skills. The skills that they learn at these stages, at this stage, will impact their emotional lives, their social lives, as well as their relationships. And what they learn at this stage then stays with them for the rest of their lives. All right? So this is the most important stage of development. And the way we approach this, next slide, please, right? The way we approach this will either develop confidence and resilience, or will make it very difficult. All right, so that's number one, is the most important stage. Number two, the reason why ECD is so important and developmental ECD is so important is because this is the stage where your brain starts developing the fastest. Right? Languages are easier to learn. Networks are being formed in your brain very fast. Children learn freakishly fast. And this is where they can learn certain skills such as concentration, instruction following, and completing tasks. Next slide. All right. At this stage, when a child is attending preschool and interacting with other children their age, They need to learn certain soft skills. They need to learn about patience. They need to learn about respect for space, opinions, and time. All of this contributes to the child's ability to work as part of a team. And later on in life, the child being part of a team determines whether they succeed or not. Next slide. 4. In ECD, could you please kill that picture? Just remove it completely. All right, so in ECD, we are teaching the child social skills, we're teaching the child patience skills, we're teaching the child time skills, but also we are preparing them for school. Right? We're preparing them to learn the harder skills from grade 1 through to grade 12. What does that mean? It means that time is spent teaching children about physical motor activities, emotional intelligence, social emotional intelligence, cognitive language, morals and spiritual intelligence. All of these start being learned at the creche level. Next slide. Right, so what happens is ECD helps reduce poverty, right? Because if you are going to an ECD center, it means that the chances that you will finish school are higher, right? The chances that you will become an adult that can be employable is higher. You have better health because you've been vaccinated, you've learned about certain health skills from very young, and suddenly you're depending less on your family for money and survival. Oh, I see we have a small one joining us there. Does she also want to become an ECD teacher one day? All right. It also saves money for society because the more people that do not finish school, the more people are on the SASSA grants, right? And then we have a problem again as society to carry people that could have had better opportunities in their lives should they have finished school. So that's all up here in society. But if we have to zone down a little bit, we start to see that babies start developing neural connection from a very young age. What is a neural connection? Neural connection is when your brain does 1 + 1 is 2, when it connects two different things, right? And at that point, the baby's brain is most prepared to learn. In the ECD phase, the child's brain learns the best and the quickest, right? Think about it like this. As soon as the child is conceived, as soon as conception happens, so as soon as the sperm cell hits the egg and they decide to make one, the brain starts developing. So it's the first thing that starts developing, one of the first. Then, as soon as you're born, your brain cells are already active at birth. And by the age of 3, your child's brain is twice as fast as an adult's brain. So could you imagine how much learning they can do if they're thinking and working twice as fast as your brain? And you're already pretty smart. Next slide. Right, so we have all of this opportunity here, and now we need to work. So what do we need to do? We have this child's brain, right? And this child's brain is growing, and what do we need to do? Number 1, right? Pregnant women need to eat healthy and avoid substance abuse. So when you're in an ECD center, you will do a lot of teaching towards helping pregnant women eat properly and avoiding things such as drugs and alcohol abuse. Because a child is learning through play, through skills and through their body and through their hands and through movement, they need to have safe places where they can play. So you as an adult need to do a few things. Number 1, you need to provide support for the pregnant woman in your center. You need to give the children a safe space to play so that their brain can learn through touch, feel, and sensory input. You should be able to read to children, right? Because this in itself helps build language skills and reading skills. Comfort children when they're upset because they're still learning about emotions. Encourage them to explore using their senses And of course, babies should be given breast milk to feed their brains with good food. That's literally the food that is made. All right, so next slide, please. Okay. Let's quickly touch base again. Let's start on the other end of the class. Nyasha, are you with us?
Yeah.
Okay, Nyasha, at your center, you have, let's say you have a center and one of the moms comes to you and she says she's pregnant. What advice would you give her?
Can you come again?
So a person comes to your center, they are pregnant and they
Yeah.
want to know what they can best do to develop their baby. What advice do you start with? What's the most important thing?
For me, I would advise them firstly to eat healthy food,
Mhm.
and they say when you're pregnant also you have to exercise, to read your baby, read books,
Okay. Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, when you read books, they say a child can maybe relax and develop this routine.
Mhm.
Yeah, something like that. I
Okay,
don't know.
I like it. No, it's very good. You've done the first bit. Okay, so now the child has been born. And Valencia, the child goes to your ECD center, but the child is 3 months old, right?
Yes, yeah.
What space can you create in your center that stimulate that child's brain? What must your center create between 3 months to 1 or 2 years? What type of spaces must your center have so that the brain can develop well?
At 3 months old, I think for the brain of the babies to develop, we have to actually, mostly, we have to maybe sing to them, play with them. They say you
Okay.
must.
So you're providing sensory input. Good. Thank you, Nyasha. Valencia, can you also try and answer that question? What type of space do you need? So we've already got play, sing, sensory input. What else can you add to it?
And we can read a story for them to
Reading.
improve a language,
Mhm.
and they can play with Play-Doh a lot for their hands, and they can, for sensory, they can play with sand or
Mhm.
anything.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Thank you. You've done well. Tracy Lee, are you with us? All right. Sefiso Numbulelo.
Hello.
Are you with us? There we are. Welcome. I see your little one is also joining the class today.
Yes.
That's very cool. Don't worry, it's not distracting us at all. They can happily be around. Maybe they'll learn a lot about themselves. Okay, so tell me, if you had to explain to someone why child development of the brain is important in an early development stage of their lives, what would you say? What is important to know about a baby's brain and a child's brain between the age of 1 and 3?
Okay. I think around that stage of their life, that's when the kids are exploring and starting to learn the world around them.
Mhm.
So it is up to us to help them know what is around for them and also create a safe space for them.
100%. So we need to remember that at this stage of their life, their brain is developing faster than ever before, right? It's like a wet sponge, right? And anything that goes into it, it gets absorbed, and we need to capitalize on that. All right, perfect. So let's look at what other factors can influence apart from the brain. Number one, we have nutrition. So what the child eats. Number two, you have environment, where the child is. Number three, you have culture, what stories the child hears. Number four, you have genetics, literally the DNA that your brain is, well, that your body is made up of. Then you have the education the child receives and the health. Next slide. That they get. Okay, so let's start looking at the different domains of child development, right? So all of those things are factored, but now we're going to split childhood development into a set of areas. The first area we're going to look at is physical and motor development. What does this mean? Right? And this is quite important. There are exam questions on this, so it's very important to understand the meaning of physical and motor development. Physical development is obviously the development of the body, right? The muscles, the big muscles, the small muscles, and motor development. Think about a motor. What does a motor do? A motor moves. It moves the car forward. It moves the train forward. So motor is about movement. So that includes anything with movement, walking, crawling, running. Right. So when I say motor skills, what am I saying? Movement skills. How a child gets from part 1 to part 2, point A to point B. All right, so we need to, number one, be able to fully understand how a child grows and how their body develops, and then how do they control their movements, right? So you'll see when a child starts walking, what do? They walk all over the place, right? They're falling all over the place. They're like drunk old men, right? When they start walking, right? Because they still haven't learned how to control all of their movements. Then we need to look at how to support the physical development of children. So now they've started moving. What do they need to move? They need energy to move. How do they get energy? Through good food, good water, regular exercise, and enough sleep. And then we can say that the child is developing well. So it sounds very simplistic, but think of it like this. A child, the first domain, the most big starting point of childhood development is movement. In order for the child to move, the child must be able to control their movements and how they balance and how they ambulate. In order to do that, they need energy that comes from good food, good nutrition, exercise, sleep, and rest. Yeah, next slide. So that's slide 1, which is physical and motor development. So how do you support it as a carer? Right? Number 1, you make sure that children have a lot of space to move and exercise and experiment with their bodies. Right? You allow children to do drawings and to do puzzles, and you allow them to draw with their hands, their feet, their arms, their bodies, to move all of their body so that they learn how their body works. Right? And finally, you develop and nurture physical and motor development by encouraging children to do things for themselves. So when you say, go and get yourself the apple, go get the apple, come and eat it. What are you teaching the child? They have to move. They have to apply physical and motor skills. They have to remember an instruction. And then they have to apply fine motor skills, which is chewing on the apple or biting on the apple or bringing the apple. Right, so that's how you nurture physical and motor development. Next slide. Right, then we have spiritual and moral development. This doesn't mean we teach children about God and religion, but we need to teach them about morals, right and wrong, and how it works. So an easy way to do it is to think about it as this. You feel good about yourself and you feel positive about yourself when you have good morals, right? When you understand where you fit into the world. When you learn where you fit into the world. You also learn about where you fit into the world when you start enjoying cultural events with your family. And when you start attending such events and you start seeing that you're part of a society, you then start learning the difference between right and wrong. Next slide. So, how do you develop a child morally? Number 1, you catch the child doing good things, right? And this is one of the most important lessons I want you to understand. Very often, you will think of an ECD teacher saying, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. Instead, what you should be doing is saying, look, you are doing the right thing here. Oh, look, you packed away your toy. Well done. Because then what happens is a child's attention and a child's behavior, no, let me reword that. A child's behavior follows the child's attention. All right. Who here works already in an ECD center? Can you put your thumbs up if you already work at an ECD center? Okay, so I can see you work there, right? Can you unmute yourself? All right, so we're gonna do this little experiment. Have you had the situation before where you are working with a class of children and you have two really nasty children, like they're very busy, they're active, they don't want to listen to you, maybe they've had a bad day, they're just not in the mood, they fight and cry about it. We've had those days. Yes?
Yes, I've had.
Okay. Have you noticed that if you sit and you focus with a child and you say, stop doing this, stop doing that, Tabo, it's you again, Nick, it's you again, what happens? Every single child, by the end of the day, is misbehaving and you are screaming and shouting the whole day. Why?
That is true.
Because, right, 80% of your class only want your attention. 10% of your class will act like terrible brats, and 10% of your class will do very well and listen to everything you say. The other 80%, they just want to know where your attention is. And if your attention is going towards the naughty children, what are you saying to the rest of the children? Be naughty. Because then you will get my attention. So what do? We say, Tabo, thank you for picking up the pencil. Here's a reward. Look at you. You're being so quiet, Lucy. Well done. What happens suddenly? Others also want your praise, so they start getting quiet also. Right. Thank you, Sifiso. I just made an example of you. I'll put you a bit on the spot there. All right, I'm going to put you on mute again. All right. So number one, we commend good conduct consistently. We give attention to the good. Then we are disciplined and we are consistent. What does this mean? It means that when you make a rule, you do not negotiate on the rule, you do not change the rule. Right? A child must be confident to know that when the facilitator or when the teacher says this, they mean this. Right? As soon as there's a gap, children are master manipulators. As soon as they see a gap, they will take it. All right? So you need to make sure that you are disciplined, you are consistent, and make sure that you show kindness, mercy, empathy, and care, because that's how children learn to develop their moral foundation. Next slide. Okay, so now we've got physical, we have moral. Now we look at social and emotional development. All right, so let's use here that I can question. Okay, Nyerazo, are you with us?
Yes, hello.
Hi there. Why do you think it's important, Nyerazo, that a child knows how to work with society, how to work in groups and with others?
Oh, I think that's when she can learn how to speak. Like she can
It
pick
helps with
some,
communication, yeah?
yes, she can pick some words from others. And also she can learn how to share with others.
Okay,
By
perfect. I like
playing
that.
together. Yes, by playing together, She can learn how to share, and also yeah, that's what I think.
No, perfect. Thank you. That's a good enough contribution. Shumi Custom, you are with us,
Yes.
right?
How are
What do
you?
you? Good, thank you. What do you think, Shumi, is the result of children who do not learn to be part of society? Children who do not learn how to share or express emotions. What type of adults do they get? Do they become?
Oh yeah. Actually these ones would be like antisocial, if I can say like that, because they've never learned or be among anybody different, to learn different things from different people. So it becomes very hard for them actually to develop in languages or to socialize, like, yeah, just talk to other people. They will find it very hard to do that.
Exactly, 100% on that. And the fact of the matter is that we are moving into a society which is more and more focused on working together, on building a team identity. Right. So look at your workspace. You don't work alone, you work with others. Right? There's very little that we do now that isn't with others. And if you are at a young age not learning these skills of how to communicate with others, you will become an admittedly terrible adult as you grow up. So let's look at what it consists of. Number one, a child must first understand their feelings towards themselves and then the feelings of other people around them. Right? So first they must be able to identify their feelings. Am I happy? Am I sad? Am I angry? Then they want to also learn how to identify feelings in other people. This is called theory of mind. Then they must be able to express their feelings in ways that are acceptable. All right, so let's quickly check here. Let's see, who haven't I not asked a question to? Lebo.
Activities that are driven by
Lebo. Right. Are you with me?
Sorry, I'll mute myself. I'm so sorry.
No problem, Lebo. Lebo, tell me, right? How do babies show emotion?
I just got in now. I'm actually late for class. Apologies.
What a terrible way to catch you out, eh? What a horrific way. Okay, I'll ask you a question a bit later. And Swako, I'm going to put you back on mute. And Swako, are you with us? Nyaratso? Okay. Right, I'll work through it a little bit. We'll ask a question a bit later. Right, so number one, babies show their emotions primarily through crying. Right? As they get older, what do they start doing? Biting or hitting or screaming. And unless they grow out of it and learn how to express their feelings, they will become adults that can only fight, cry, or scream when things go wrong. Right? And we all know a person who doesn't understand emotions well enough, and all they do is end up screaming or crying or fighting. Right? Because they don't have the words to explain their emotions. Where does this problem arise from? It arises from ECD, because the child was not taught what these feelings are. And very often, this will tie in with the cultural aspect. Very often, boys are taught that they don't have feelings and they must not express their feelings either. Right. So the ECD is where we start expressing feelings and understanding what is happy, what is sad, what is angry. And then we can express it. I am angry because, I am happy because. And because you can do that, because you can express your feelings, you can trust other people. This is where trust comes in. So think about that person you know who is not good with emotion, right? They only cry, scream, or fight. when they're upset. They don't speak their emotions. Right? Think about them in your head. Think about it. Do they find it easy to trust people? Probably not. Are they independent? Probably not. Can they control themselves? Probably not. And all of these things are learned in the ECD space through the emotional development and social development of the child. Next slide. All right. So a sense of trust. A sense of trust can be developed by responding to a child's need for attention. We focus on responsiveness and sensitivity, which means that we approach the child kindly. We create a safe space, and they are allowed to explore within their spaces. We develop simple rules, and we help children in following those simple rules. All right. So let's share quickly some rules that we have in our classroom and check if they are simple. Let's see. And if you don't have a classroom, imagine a rule you would have in your classroom. And let's see if it's simple and how you would assist the child in following. Nswaki, are you with us? Nyaradzo? I am not like today. I'm not popular. Nyasha, are you with us? Lebo? Oh, wait, somebody's come up. Nyaradzo, you've come up. Okay, tell me. Nyaradzo, what's a rule that you would have in your classroom? Oh, you unmuted yourself, then you remuted yourself. Okay, Lebo. Can you unmute yourself?
One of the rules that I have in class is kids must listen to each other for this week.
Okay, perfect. How do you assist them in following that rule?
When we do teamwork, like a group work, so how we facilitate it, it's them taking turns and making sure that if you want something, you need to ask the next person so that it creates some form of communication, so it's not chaotic. So then that's the way
that is stunning.
Their listening skills.
That is stunning. So do you see the rule there? The rule is there is that we listen, we communicate with each other, and then we enforce it by letting them ask each other. All right, Shumi, give me a rule that you have in your class, and how do you enforce it?
Okay. So I have a rule, like we know with the little ones that I work with. So we don't have to every day tell them when you after playing or after eating you need to clean up. Let also teacher not repeat the same thing every day to tell you to clean up after playing or eating. It's your responsibility. So we don't communicate anymore in telling them like to verbalize what they need to do. So I've set 2 songs. Okay, let me say one song that plays actually is called a cleanup song. So whenever I play the song, they know that they are supposed to clean up, and I don't say anything. And then immediately everybody stops whatever they are doing and start picking away, and they all follow that one.
Stunning. So what you've done there is you've given them the rule. The rule is we clean up after ourselves, and then you've reinforced it by making it a game and easy for them to follow. So they trust the understanding that they have when they hear that song. Okay, I like that very much. Next slide, please. Self-concept. So self-concept is when a child is helped to understand themselves better. Who am I? What do I do? Where do I fit into the world? What happens in here? It's all about questions. It's about asking questions, and it's about making believe play. Right? Make believe play. Next slide. Cultural identity. Okay, so to foster a child's cultural identity, number one, we provide support by teaching children, if at all possible, in their home language. All right. Number two, we come with ways to bring cultural practices into the classroom, and we support culture because this is what the child knows. Before they know school, they know culture. And families are invited to share traditions with other children in the school. Okay, so let's check. We've had Shimi was the last one. So let's go to Piso Mbulelo. Can you unmute yourself for us? All right, tell me, how do you incorporate culture in your classroom? Like, what does your school do that shows that they respect cultures and that it's incorporated?
Sorry, hello? I couldn't get that.
All right. What does your school do to include cultural understanding for the children? What culture things do they have?
I don't really know with that school because I recently started there.
Do they have cultural day where they dress up as the culture?
Sure, I saw on the planning for the year that they do have, and what they are planning to do for cultural days to ask kids to bring different kinds of food from their of their culture, and then we're gonna meet up and have like picnic together, and we share different kinds of food together.
This is amazing. That is perfect. And that's exactly it. So the child is learning about their culture, but they're also learning about other cultures in the process so that they can respect all of them together. Slide. Okay. At the independent stage of growing up, the child learns what they should do, not do, and they suddenly want to do everything by themselves. And this is usually eating, drinking, dressing. It's usually about 2-3 years old where they want to start doing everything by themselves. And we encourage that as a stage of development. Next slide. Petra, can you just check for us how many slides we have left, roughly, as I continue? All right, so expressing fear is fine. You can change it way through.
Oh, there we go. Got 6 more
Okay.
slides.
Got about 6 more, 5 more without the activity. Okay, perfect. Expressing feelings. So number one, when we teach children to express feelings, which happens at a later stage, maybe upper ECD level, number one, we need to understand that they need assistance from us to help manage their emotions, right? A child doesn't know how to manage their emotion initially, and they need assistance in managing an emotion. Number two, right? The child needs to be able to identify what the emotion is, understand the emotion, and deal with the emotion. And the best way we can do this is by listening to the child and encouraging the child to talk about their emotions and to give the emotions name. Sorry, I'm just going to cough. So when the child is frustrated, they don't know the word frustrated. You can see that they're going red, they're ticking, and say, you're feeling frustrated. This is what frustrated feels. So they start having the words for those emotions. Next slide. Okay. After all of this, we start getting to cognitive and language development. Cognitive means brain, right? Language development is obviously the word. We'll go into all of these developmental stages in much more detail throughout the year, but this is like a nice overview of all the different puzzle pieces that make up the child as such. All right, so number one, we understand that learning about the world involves a child learning about themselves, their families, and their environment. And when you look at any ECD curriculum, what do you have? Lesson 1, who am I? Quarter 1 or theme 1, who am I? Theme 2, my family. Theme 3, my community. All right, this is the starting point of a child learning about the world. The child also then needs to develop certain basic skill based on this to identify their world. That includes identifying colors, shapes, size of things, textures of things, and then once they've got this, they can classify items that are similar and different. Right. So what does this result? When you do cognitive development, what is the result for the child? Number one, the child can start solving their own problems, right? And they can start interacting and solving problems with others. It then allows us to do intelligence testing, like reading, taking walks, building with blocks, learning about shape, and playing memory games. Next slide. Once the child has developed these skills, language becomes very important because we solve through language. Right? Language is the tool we use to solve many problems because we talk it through, we look at the words, we try and understand it. So you can help a child develop language by number one, listening to children, helping them speak. You play games with rhyming words, and you tell stories. Because in telling stories, children learn words and they learn how words fit together. So let us go into the chat and see. I want to ask a question, but no. Where are they? Who haven't I asked the question to? Valencia. Have I asked you? Oh, Valencia, you're up. I'm trying to give everybody a fair shot. So forgive me if I. Valencia, could you unmute yourself?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect. Can you tell me, do you know of any rhyme that you can teach children that helps them learn a skill? Give us a rhyme.
The rhyme about what? Sorry.
Anything. What rhyme do you have in your classroom or a classroom that you have observed? Are you teaching at an ECD center at the moment?
Okay. This is the way we wash our hands. That one.
Okay, perfect. What skill are we teaching?
They must know how to wash their hands and
All right. And what are you doing during this? This is the way we wash our hands, wash our hands, wash our hands. What are you
it's
doing
the time
during
they're
this?
going to the bathroom to wash their hands. They're learning how to.
Okay, perfect. I love that very much. So that's a very simple way to learn that skill. And instead of you sitting there and saying, guys, remember to do wash your hands, remember to wash your hands. Now they've got a dance move that allows them to learn that life skill through rhyming words. And they've also learned a set of new words. Thank you so much, Valencia. I appreciate it. Lebo, what rhyme do you have? Can you unmute yourself?
Do you know my name? Yes. Do you know my name? Yes. My name is Lebo. Your name is Lebo. I stay in Provincia.
That
So
is
the purpose of
amazing.
that, introduce a new child to the group as well for them to know that child's name and also for them to know where they stay. And then as it continues, say, nobody touch me, nobody touch me. I tell my mama, I tell my papa. So we're also making them aware that nobody's supposed to touch you in private places.
Okay, I like that. So what you've done is you've broken the ice of a child joining a new group, right? Because now there's a song associated with it. Everybody gets involved. Everybody's learning a new name. I love that very much. And you're also teaching a bit of safety, like don't touch me. It takes a bit of a turn, but I like it very much. Okay. Let's pick one more person for this session. Nyaratsu. Nyaratsu? right, that's fine. Shumi, do you have a rhyme that we use with our children?
Yeah. It's like, yeah, we had actually like the one that I don't know, was singing about the one to know your friend's name or to know each other. But yeah, but I have one that we do about let's say if it's a register time, instead of you telling them to come and sit on the carpet. So there's a song called Come to the Carpet. Oh, I forgot the song.
No, that's perfectly fine.
Is it fine if I can play it for you? Because now I'm like trying to remember the lyrics, but sometimes it quickly just go out of your mind. You don't remember after you have a long day.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, let me put it speak. I hope it won't come with an advert so that you can hear it.
Okay, perfect. Let's hear.
5, 6, 7, 8. Come to the carpet. Use your walk feet. Come to the carpet. Moving to the beat. Come to the carpet. Careful not to shout. And don't forget that when you sit, have a quiet mouth.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was just.
I love it. What skill does that teach them?
Okay, so it actually teaches the kids that there is time for everything. And when the teacher said you need to come and sit down and listen, so it actually applies all that. In the moment that I play that song for them, they all sit down, cross their feet, and they all keep quiet, and they know that it's time to do something. Then they actually even advise the other one, whoever keeps on talking. They even say, the song was saying that you need to keep quiet. So which is very cute when these little ones have to remind each other of what actually is expected of them.
100%, 100%. So what's also amazing is that, and you'll know it for yourself, that you can remember a song so easily, right? From childhood, songs that you maybe listened to when you were younger, you remember them so easily, right? Because our brains are geared for it. So it's easy for a child to remember songs also, but it also makes it more fun and saves you a lot of effort of screaming, shouting, and fighting, right? But because it's a song, it stimulates different parts of the child's brain and actually develops their language skills. And Swati, you are the last one on this subject. You have asked to share your song with us. Will you unmute yourself and do that? Okay, I think she's having a few problems. She has said she's going to send us a video. So we'll look forward to that. I'll post it on the group in Swahili if you want. But if you do connect, just interrupt me and I'll let you on. I really want to hear your song. Okay, perfect. Next slide, please. Okay, so we ask questions, we praise effort, and we praise children's performance. A very important part of learning about development and developing well is that we give children enough time to complete their tasks, right? Because they learn through that the confidence to complete. Next slide. Okay, so when it comes to children with special needs, we need to be extra aware of the developmental delay. So we're all looking at development, but now must understand that children with special needs do not develop in the same way, right? And they need more support in reaching these milestones. So number one, child with special needs will require more support in going to the toilet and in feeding themselves, right? They will have a lot of issues controlling their emotions and will need extra guidance and support when learning about emotions and how to control it. They can only concentrate for short periods of time, and communication skills are very difficult for a child with special needs because it's advanced language application. So you're going to do a whole section on special needs as part of your course, and there's a whole specialization for that, where you'll spend a lot of time going into detail, but it's good for you to keep, next slide, in the back of your head that the developmental areas are different for children that are typically developing and children that are atypically developing. All right, so what we did today was we looked at the different pieces of the puzzle that make up the early childhood development stage of our lives, right? We looked at the importance of learning emotions. We looked at the importance of language. We looked at the importance of physical development, motor development, and how all of these come together through the concept of play. And this is why play is so important, because you learn emotions, language, physical development, and motor development through play. All right, so just before we wrap up very quickly, I would like to know whom I'm going to catch. Nyasha, can you unmute yourself?
Yes.
Okay, tell me what, and this is a very common exam question, what is motor development? What is motor development?
Motor development, I think, is I can't remember, sorry.
Okay, no, that's perfectly fine. Let's go to Nswaki. I know you're also going to play us a song. I see you've reconnected. Can you unmute yourself yet? Okay, Nyaratso, can you unmute yourself? What is motor development? Or patience, actually, also. Patience, are you with us? All right. Sifiso? Sifiso Nombolelo. Sifiso Nombolelo.
Hello.
Tell us, what is motor development?
Motor development or movement skills. If something correctly.
Movement skills.
It's
Perfect. Can you
movement
give me some
skills.
examples of it? What types of movements do children use?
Reaching for things, maybe at the top, if you send a child to go get maybe your book or your pencil on top of the table, if they can reach on top, or if they can touch their toes, or if they can move their arms sideways. Anything that has to do with body movement with the child.
Perfect. So the most important thing to know is that movement, it's motor movement. Patience, are you with us? I know you wanted to answer.
Yes, I'm with you. Hello.
Hi, Patience. Patience,
How
tell
is
us.
you?
Good, thank you. Right.
I'm good.
What rule can you support in your classroom that is a simple rule?
Sorry, can you come again?
Can you give us an example of a rule that is supported in your classroom?
The rule that is important in a class.
Supported. Like, how do you support a rule? Are you currently teaching, Patience?
No, I'm working with twins, like as an au pair. So,
Ah, perfect. Okay, so let's change the question a little bit, right? Do you use any rhymes with your au pair children to help them do specific tasks?
yes, I do. Actually, I have created songs from my own mind that helps them to do stuff. Like when it's bath time, I know like a song that I must sing for them so that they can go bath with, like nicely without fighting with me. So yeah,
Can you give me that song, or how does it go?
it goes actually well. Like I'm perfectly happy with the way I've created
No, can you say
the
the song
routine
to
for
us?
them.
Can you say the? You don't
Oh,
have to
the
sing
song
it.
for
You can give
bathing.
us the words. Yes.
Okay. Sorry, they're speaking, so let me start now.
No problem.
When it's time to bath, we sing and praise. When it's time to bath, we sing. And they stamp their foot. When it's time
Oh.
to sing. Yeah, like it goes like that. So yeah, I'm just a bit nervous.
No, of course,
yeah.
but that's amazingly brave of you. Okay, so what you have there is you have a gross motor movement of moving a big muscle group, and you're linking
Yeah.
it to a task such as bathing. That's good. I'm very happy with that. Thank you so much,
Thank
Patience.
you. Thank
And
you.
Swati shared her rhyme with us. So, and Swaki's been having a rough day. She can't connect with her. She can't unmute herself, but she shared it for us in the chat. And her rhyme says, "Everybody tidy up, tidy up, tidy up. Everybody let's tidy up, tidy up, tidy up." Right. So when they sing this rhyme, everybody knows that they go their separate ways to clean up their area, and the teacher shoulders the responsibility to do things on their own, especially things that they're used. Right. So do you see how this actually works very well? Because it's everybody, so everybody's involved, tidying up, it's an action, and there's repetitive rhythm to it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if there's any gentlemen here today, thank you so very much for your attendance today. I really enjoyed giving you this class. The recording will be made available also, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time for the new class, for the next class. Thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful evening. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, bye.